Hey everybody, welcome to the vocabulary lesson. This is the 30th vocabulary lesson. Now we are in the vocabulary lesson 30. Sorry. Now I'm going to tell you what the word that we're going to be talking about, which is dimension. Dimension, dimensional, interdimensional, and dimensions. We're going to be talking about dimensions. A measurable extent of some kind, such as length, breadth, depth, or height. The final dimensions of the pond were 14 feet by 8 feet. Synonyms: proportions, measurements, extent, size, length, width, breadth, depth. Area: volume, capacity, footage, acreage. The approximate dimensions of the master bedroom, an aspect or feature of a situation. Problem or thing: sun-dried tomatoes add a new dimension to the sauce. Synonyms: aspect, feature, element, facet, side. Water can add a new dimension to your garden. Form or shape: something to particular measurements. The seats and back rests are dimensioned to withstand high loads from items such as unsecured luggage, a single aspect of a given thing, a measure of spatial extent in a particular dimension such as height, width, or breadth, or depth, a construct whereby objects or individuals can be distinguished. Dimension synonyms: aspect, magnitude, proportion, size, scope, attribute, property. So for width, it's spelled with W-I-D-T-H. Or, okay, width, you say width, not width. Width. And or breadth is B-R-E-A-D-T-E-H. It's breadth, not bread or breath. It's breadth. Or depth. And dimensional of or pertaining to dimensions, having dimension or dimensions. Three-dimensional, appended to cardinal numbers or algebraic, never heard of that word. Symbols to form adjectives, meaning having the stated number of dimensions. Gives a whole new dimension to poetic license, don't it? And the movie called Ready Player One, 2018. Each entry into Holliday's journals is meticulously assembled from personal photographs, home video recordings, surveillance, and nanny cams, all rendered into a three-dimensional virtual experience. Also, Holliday archived every film, game, book, and television program he ever saw located on the mezzanine. And the word interdimensional means not comparable between dimensions. The spaceship made an interdimensional jump. And the movie here called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, 2017. Star-Lord says, "Showtime, a-holes. It will be here any minute." Gamora says, "Which will be its loss?" Star-Lord says, "I thought your thing was a sword." Gamora says, "We've been hired to stop an interdimensional beast from feeding on those batteries, and I'm gonna stop it with the sword." Star-Lord says, "It's just swords were your thing and guns were mine." Interdimensional beast means a creature can travel from one dimension to another, or one world to another. That means one world to another. One dimension means one world. Another dimension means another world. Different dimension means a different world. I'm going to say this again. One dimension means one world. Another dimension means another world. Different dimension means a different world. And again, one dimension means one world. Another dimension means another world. Different dimension means a different world. And again, one dimension means one world. Another dimension means another world. Different dimension means a different world. One last time. One dimension means one world. Another dimension means another world. Different dimension means a different world. Dimension, it's a measurement like height, width. For example, someone says, how big is your room? Dimension of room is like 15 feet by 20 feet. Some of the houses are different, but in my room here is small. I don't know what's the size of this, because I never measured it. Because if I did, otherwise I would give you that answer. Every rooms are different. Every other houses of the rooms are different. So now I have the canvas size comparison chart over there. Take you guys take a closer look on this. And over here, this is a canvas size comparison chart over here. 48 by 72, 48 by 60, 36 by 48, 3 by 40, 24 by 36, 24 by 30, 18 by 24, 16 by 20. 12 by 16, 11 by 14. When you see all those X's there, that means those are the buys. You say 48 by 60. Those are the buys. And over here, this is the square. This is the height. This is the width. This is the length over here. 3D. 3D means 3 dimensions and 3 sizes. This is the cube. The cube here is 1 face on the front, 2 face on the right, 3 face on the left, 4 face on the top, 5 face on the bottom, and 6 face in the back. Those are 6 faces in this cube. Now there's 12 edges here. In this cube they have 12 edges. And over here, it has 8 corners over here. The cube has 8 corners. So now I'm gonna tell you, okay? This is 1 corner, 2 corner, 3 corner, 4 corner, 5 corner, 6 corner, 7 corner, and 8 corner. 8 corner in the back. And now this is the book. That's the book here. So you say this is the book, and the front, that's the face, and here that's the edge, and over here that's the vertex. Over here is the corner. That's the corner here, and the book shape here is called the rectangular prism. A rectangular prism. And over here, this is called the cylinder. Cylinder over here is shaped like an ice cream cone. One curved surface. This is a one curved surface in the front, and that's the face. And the cylinder here has 0 corners. It has no corners for the ice cream cone right here. And over here on the bottom, that's the sphere. That's the sphere on the bottom. It has 1 edge over here on the bottom. And over here, triangle, that's a triangle. It has 5 faces. Well, I don't know how it has 5 faces there. So Those are just shapes of dimensions about what sizes and what's to measure it, and the world and the universe. That's the dimension. And also, dimension is a problem and a situation. That means a lot of things. Dimension is a one powerful word. Dimension is about a measurement, but for my dimension applies to art, like canvas size. If someone is looking for a painting for a wall and they say, what are the dimensions, you will give them canvas size. Or if, for example, I have my own place and I want to buy a couch or some furniture, I will measure them to make sure they fit in my house. Height by width by length. To make it easier, dimension is a measure of an object. This is an object over here. You're talking about an object sizes. That's what you're talking about. Dimension could mean something, a measured within close proximity. When someone mentions different dimensions, we tend to think of things like parallel universe, alternate realities that exist parallel to our own. But where things work or happen differently, however, the reality of dimensions and how they play a role in the ordering of our universe is really quite different. From this popular characterization, to break it down, dimensions are simply the different facets of what we perceive to be reality. We are immediately aware of the three dimensions that surround us on a daily basis, those that define the length, width, and depth of all objects in our universe. The X, Y, and Z-axis, respectively. Beyond these three visible dimensions, scientists believe that there may be many more. In fact, the theoretical framework of superstring theory posits that the universe exists in 10 different dimensions. These different aspects are what govern the universe, the fundamental forces of nature, and all the elementary particles contained within. What is the dimension of this table? That means measure. What is the measure of this table? What size is it? What is the size of this table? That will be 60 inches. The way you can tell is that they measured it with a measuring tape. So this is the measuring tape right here. I'm using this measuring tape to see what is the size of this. Okay, look. Now this is what you can do. So we measure this here. Okay, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. 14. It's 14 by 17. That's the size of this small desk. And the board, I'm going to tell you what the size is on this board. It's 24 by 36. That's the size of that board. See, I'm using this measuring tape to know what is the size of everything and every object. Now, 3D means three-dimensional. So, cylinder is a shape of a candle and the shape of a battery. 3D shapes. Dimensionals are talking about the shapes and stuff. 3D shapes is the cones, cylinder, the sphere, cube, and rectangular prism. Those are the 3D shapes. See, they're all 3D shapes. And one-dimensional is something that has no depth, length, breadth, and thickness. Thus, a line has only length and is said to be of one dimension. A surface has length and breadth and has two dimensions. A solid has length, breadth, and thickness and has three dimensions. We are in the fourth dimensions, and every additional idea that does not merely derange in art enlarges it as it were by a new dimension in space. The dimensions of objects. The dimension means it's a measure. Physical dimensions, metaphysical dimensions. A physical dimension is a property we associate with physical quantities for purposes of classification or differentiation. Mass, length, and force are examples of physical dimensions. The product of any two dimensions is a dimension. The metaphysical dimensions of reality. How to achieve peace, civility, and social well-being. Dimension is a very, very hard word. Dimension is a confusing word because it's a powerful word with different meanings. A dimension is a state of consciousness and a means of organizing different planes of existence according to the vibratory rate of that which exists. Each dimension has certain sets of laws and principles that are specific to the frequency of that dimension. Those who resonate with a particular level of energy, referring to their vibration and light quotient, exist in that dimension. There are 12 dimensions in our universe, one that connects to all other universes, known as the cosmic wand. The 4 dimensions is length, width, depth, and time. We are in the 4th dimension, means the time. We're going to take all over the whole dimension, meaning the whole world. In this dimension, we will all unite together. A dimension is an aspect or feature of a situation, problem, or thing. Like you can say, in this dimension, we gotta do something. I can't figure it out in this dimension. In this dimension, blah, 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 like whatever, but that's the only correct, that's the only, how people will say that in a sentence. But, yeah. Okay, so now, another one. Dimension is a measurable extent of some kind, such as length, breadth, depth, or height. What's the height? Now, the TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 2016. Krang says, the teleportation device. Shredder says, the teleport was supposed to break me out of prison. Krang says, but it is capable of so much more. That device is part of a machine called the Arc Capacitor. Years ago, I launched the Arc Capacitor to Earth's dimension. And a Fantastic Four 2015, Mr. Fantastic says he's pulling everything into the other dimension. Invisible Woman says, hold on, the Fantastic Four is trying to save the world for Doctor Doom. Now back to the Ninja Turtles. Donnie says it may help Shredder open that portal to another dimension. Mikey says it's the interdimensional portal opening thingy mabob. And then the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2018. Spider-Man says, Norman, listen to me. I cannot let you open that portal to another dimension. Brooklyn is not zoned for that. The woman says, I see multiple dimensions opening. That was 3, 4, and 5 separate dimensions. It's unstable. We should stop. Miles says, are you from another dimension? What's going on with your body? Peter P says, I don't think my atoms are real jazzed about being in the wrong dimension. Ninja Turtles, again, April O'Neil says, okay, so I went to go see Baxter, but then Shredder was there, and then he was talking about opening up some sort of portal, like to another dimension. And then Spider-Man Look, I'm not looking for a side gig as a Spider-Man coach. I got a lot going on in my dimension. And the woman says, Mr. Fisk, if we fire again this week, there could be a black hole under Brooklyn. You see this and this? This is multiple dimensions beginning to crash into each other. Okay, a little bit of a gut. Perhaps from dimensional warping? Peter P says, oh yeah, I was way flattered before I warped. Woman says, and obviously you've been glitching. Peter P in normal voice. And normal voice. Glitching? No. Why would you even say that? Woman says, if you stay in this dimension too long, your body's gonna disintegrate. Gwen says, hey guys, Gwanda? It's Gwen, actually. Peter P, oh, you know her? Very cool. I'm from another dimension. I mean, another dimension. Aunt May says, Peter? Peter P says, hey, Aunt May. So this is going to sound crazy, but I'm pretty sure that I'm from Aunt May says, an alternate dimension? And what dimension are you from? Miles says, Brooklyn. Peter Porker says, do animals talk in this dimension? Because I don't want to freak them out. Woman says, beginning scan for dimensional matches. Dimension is the world, the planet, the space, the universe. That's what it is. The Ninja Turtles, again. The Baxter Stockman says, when I found this thing, I never could imagine its significance. But this Commander Crane, he said that this will help open a portal to another dimension. Talking about another world or another universe. E.T. is a song by Katy Perry, and she says, you're from a whole nother world, a different dimension. You open my eyes and I'm ready to go, lead me into the light. A property of space extension in a given direction. A straight line has one dimension. A parallelogram has two dimensions, and a parallelepiped has three dimensions. I never heard of that word before. It's hard to pronounce. The generalization of this property to spaces with curvilinear extension as the surface of a sphere, the generalization of this property to vector spaces and to Hilbert space, the generalization of this property to fractals, which can have dimensionals that are non-integer real numbers. Extension in time. Space-time has three dimensions of space and one of time. Measurement and length, width and thickness. Scope, importance. The dimensions of a problem, magnitude, size, matter has dimension. Spider-Man, guys, are you seeing this? Gwen says, looks like our dimensions are coming to us. Wow, wait. In that Spider-Man movie, they had said dimension so many times in that movie. Wow. And even this newest Ninja Turtle movie, they say that a few times. They say that in a few times than the Spider-Man one. Dimensional, relating to measurements or dimensions. Technicians check dimensional accuracy using coordinate measuring machines having sufficient depth and substance to be believable, well-rounded, fully dimensional characters to shape or fashion to the desired dimensions. Dimension the shelves so that they fit securely into the cabinet to indicate the dimensions of an item, area, etc. on a sketch or drawing. Measure in one direction the dimensions of the room. Dimensions is definitions and sentences. The first dimension is the consciousness of Gaia's physical prime atom. This dimension is the realm of the mineral kingdom and is the slowest in terms of vibratory rate. On Earth, we know it as the atoms molecules and minerals, Earth is alive and holds the knowledge you seek, and your consciousness affects what Earth reveals. This spiritual dimension addresses the imperative for compassion among all peoples. He can't kill you in that dimension, he assured her. And now this is my own yearbook. My yearbook from my different special education. It says dimensions. See that now? This is all the shape of this object. Whatever this object is the shape of something. So that's what it is. My yearbook here is called Dimension. That's from the school, Coral Springs High School, as my special education. All right, folks, that's it. The lesson is over. Dimension is a long lesson.